Hey everyone, so this is going to be a lecture about your final paper for this class, which is the research paper. So I'm going to switch to Canvas. Okay, your prompt is already up, so go ahead and take a look at it. This is a paper that's on any topic of your choice, any at all. It doesn't have to be anything related to anything we've been studying in the class. I've had students write about all kinds of things from, animated labor to Amazon to, the wealth crisis going on in San Francisco as far as like people getting evicted and people having to move. I've had people do things on migrant workers. I've had people do projects on vaping, on health, eating, um, literally anything and everything. I even had a student do a whole thing on the way color affects us in public, like the way we color code things. It was fascinating. So whatever you feel like writing about, this could be something related to your major, or it could be just something you've always been curious about. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. There are some requirements. It has to be at least 5 to 6 pages long. 5 is the minimum. So if you're under 5 pages, remember you cannot revise this paper. So make sure you're over. I would go a few sentences over 5 just to be safe. You also need to have at least 5 sources from research, a few of which need to be from the library database. I'm going to go over that in a second. But some of you have asked me, can you use sources from our class? Like if you're writing about mass incarceration or the justice system? Yes. However, you need at least 5 sources that are not from the class. So something new that you found on your own. Okay, so that is a requirement, a minimum requirement. You can have over 5 sources, but 5 of those have to be ones that we have not talked about in class yet. Okay. So the due dates are here. 7/16 is the research outline. 7/20 is the annotated bib, peer review. And then your final essay is due before midnight on the last day of class, which is the 23rd. Okay. So I also posted ways to organize your paper because your research paper is going to be a little different from the other essays you've written. So let's go to that. Now this is just optional. I just put this up here because I found students like the organization method a little bit more. So for your first 2 paragraphs or whatever, you would have your introduction, right? This is where you introduce the reader to what you are going to be talking about. What is the topic itself? Give us a little bit of information about how you got interested in it, stuff like that. And then you want to end with your thesis, right? The thing that you're going to be kind of arguing about. Then you want to give us a little brief summary. So this might be, the historical aspects of your topic. Then you want to go over the research itself. What did you find? How does it help, you as far as like determining what your thesis is? State your position with evidence, right? And make us believe the thing that you're trying to argue about your topic. Then you want to address opposing viewpoints. And this is really important because this is a requirement for this paper. You need to come up with other ideas that people have. Now, this may not be a pro and con. This may be just different perspectives, right? So like, for example, maybe you had a psychologist's perspective on the issue. Maybe you've got, some kind of research scientist that's in a specific field. Maybe you have a teacher. Maybe you have someone that's actually been personally experienced whatever the topic is, right? Those are different perspectives on the same topic, and that can kind of also work with opposing views. Okay. And then your conclusion, like what you feel like might be the next steps in research. Like you've gone so far, what are the next things that need to be talked about? Just basically offering your reader a little bit of like, okay, so here's what I found. This is what I think going forward. This is where someone else could take over. You could end with a question. Basically, don't just summarize. You want to give them something new to think about. And then your works cited page, which is going to be your annotated bib. You just attach it to the end of the paper. Okay, and that does not count towards page count, just FYI. The other thing I've added for you is a sample research paper. Now, I do not want you to copy this at all, obviously. It was for a class I taught at SF State, so it is a little bit different. The way it's written is in APA format, so you don't want to copy that. But I wanted to give you an idea of like how you could organize it, how it's going to look. Okay, so that's up there just for you guys. While you're researching, so the library database is really great. You can just plug, whatever your topic is into the OneSearch. There's also some other really cool aspects of the site. So there's different databases. One of my favorites is opposing viewpoints because you are required to have opposing viewpoints. This is great, and this could be good for just the future in general too when you're doing papers. But there's a bunch of different topics, and if you click on them, there's like pros and cons and all kinds of really cool. And there's also like way more issues than just what's here. So this is a great resource if you're just kind of stuck or you want more information, whatever you might want to do. Also, keep in mind that librarians are freaking fantastic for resources. So if you find an article and for some reason you can't access it or it's not the specific article you wanted, what you can do is you can go and ask a librarian for help. So there's other options too, but basically like they're here to help you. And if you can't find something, they will help you find it. I literally came into the Skyline Library when I was doing my master's thesis, and I had a librarian find me an article I couldn't find anywhere. So they're really helpful. Definitely utilize this resource, okay? Another thing you can do is use Google Scholar. This is a perfectly fine resource and database. I will accept stuff from there as well. Also, like YouTube, right? So I know not everyone is an expert on YouTube, but especially when we're talking about like personal experiences, that might be a great like resource. Like you could use that as, you know, something that is in your evidence. That could be one of your sources for sure, okay? Or a podcast or I don't know, a news video, whatever it is, as long as it's a credible source, I will accept that. Like, you know, it's 2020. We use YouTube now. Also, keep in mind, so I clicked on this because I had a student that did a topic on vaping. But Wikipedia is not something you ever want to cite, right, an academic source, because anybody can contribute to it. Like, I could go in here, I could mess up some things. But Wikipedia is great for finding, you know, the next level. So what's really cool is you see these like little numbers. So these are actually academic articles that they got their sources from. So these are absolutely credible. So what's cool about Wikipedia is even when I was doing my master's thesis, I would go on here and I'd be like, oh, I really want to read more of this. And I'd click on it and you can find the article. And then you can cite the specific original source, not Wikipedia, but the person that actually wrote the thing that Wikipedia is citing. Okay? So yeah, so just keep that in mind. All right, that's it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know and talk to you later.